So in our previous session, what we saw types of internal table, right? Then we saw selection screen, also known as input screen. Then we saw the concept of classical report and how we can bring the data from our database table, and then we can perform any kind of operation once we have brought the data. So what we saw there, that we have got OpenSQL and native SQL. We are using OpenSQL to bring the data from our header table, right? So we brought the data from header table, which was my VBAK, right? This is what we did. Now the question here is, which is the today's topic, how can I bring the data from item table also based on the data present in present in the header table. Okay. Yes. Mainly this kind of requirement we usually have, because if we are performing operation on certain columns of header, there can be possibility that we might also need the item columns, right? So how we are going to bring it? Just think on that. How we are going to bring it? So to understand this situation, I will create a program and we will go a little bit deep inside our classical report. Then we will understand this thing. So let's create a program. I will name it classical report deep dive. Create understanding complex kind of classical report. Executable, save, package and tr. So for our employee table, if I have to create a internal table, I will need a structure, right? I will need a structure. Yes. I will create a structure. Just go slowly. Everything is easy here. Only I will say that they are lengthy in nature. If you have enough patience for it, you will learn everything. Okay. Yes. So column 1, column 2, and its data element. Let me see all the rest of the columns. So I'll go to SE11 and then I will open my table. I will see employee name, then department. Let's see that I'm going to use 4 columns of it, 4 columns of my employee table. So then I will go for third one, department. Let's type. Then I will go for 4th column. And of TY employee. It's internal table. And work area. This is what we do. Table of, sorry, type TY employee. Then I was creating a select option, right? Did I created it in the previous session?
I think it needs to select command to take data from the database.
Yes, we use in, right? We use in
yes.
Select option. So this is how I will create as employee ID for my variable. And I was writing query. So select employee ID, employee name, name, department manager from table name into table LT employee, where employee ID in as employee ID. Very simple, right? Once I have the data, I am going to perform all those things. Now my requirement is a little bit different. Let's take a requirement. Requirement is bring the data from header and also item table, and then display them together. Display them together. Bring the data from header and also item table, and then display them together. Think on that. How we can do it? Just think on that.
With a view, right?
What?
I was thinking to create a view to show those two.
Yeah, that
tables,
is
right?
separate stuff. But we are directly coding here. I want to directly bring the data. So the most easy, see, we have got two approach for it. Okay, if we want to bring data from multiple things, we have got two approach. The first approach is create two different structures for both header and item. Okay, and create their respective internal tables. And what we will do, bring the data from both the tables and store them in internal table. Then what we will do, we will create a final structure which will have both the columns of these internal tables. Then I will create a final internal table using this structure. And then we will finally store data from both the internal table into this final internal table. Okay.
Yes.
And then what we will do, we'll display the data because we have got all the data in final, right? The data from this is one approach. Now just think on that. If I have to create, if I have to bring the data from my item table, I will need structure for item also, right? So I am creating a structure for it. TY, let's say project, employee ID, type, employee ID, project ID, type, project ID. Let me see other column, project details. Yeah, this one. Project name and data element. So project name, type its data element, project name. I will end it. So end of TY project. Then what I will do, I will define its internal table also, right?
Yes.
So LT project, just follow the steps. If I use directly copy and paste all these things, you will not be able to understand, right? So I am
Yes.
showing just how you can follow the approach before writing the code. This code, before writing any code, you must create all the steps in your mind. And if you are not able to create it, always try to write the steps. Write the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in comment or at any place, always try to write the steps, then follow those steps and get the output. Still you are failing, try it again. This is the only way to learn.
Yes.
Ty project, then ls project, type ty underscore project, my internal table for header and item. I have got both the structure, right? Then what I will do, I have created the internal table for both of them. Then I need to bring the data from both the table and store in their respective internal tables, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how will I do that? I have already brought data from header. Now tell me, how am I going to bring data from my item? Will I write same to same query for item also?
I think so, yes. But just to pull it from a different table, the item table.
Yeah, but item is dependent on header, right? Item
Ah,
is
yes.
dependent on header. So here we are going to follow the approach of the first approach, which is also known as, inside this first approach, which is for all entries. This concept is known as for all entries. For all entries in header, we are going to bring the items data so that we can maintain the consistency. For all entries is used to bring the corresponding data from the item table based on header. Okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
the first actual approach. Second one is also known as diff something else, we will know, but for now, for all entries. So here, so if I have to bring the data from my item and I am going for the condition that data must be there in header, then I will bring it, right? Data must be in it. So how will I check that if there is some data in it or not? How will I check?
With the where condition?
No, no, no. I have to check that the data must be there in this header internal table. Then I will bring the data from my item. Otherwise, it is meaningless to write the query, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
there is two ways. Either you can check the size of RC condition. Again, here I had told you already, size of RC is very important. Either you can do this thing, or you can do if LT employee is not initial, that is not empty. Here initial means empty. So I am
Mm-hmm.
checking that my internal table is not empty. Then here I will write for all entries to bring data from my item. Otherwise I will not bring the data. Is this thing clear?
Yes.
So select your employee ID, project ID, and project name. These are the three columns. These are the three columns from my item table, right? From my table name, project details, into table LT project, right? LT
Yes.
project for all entries in. Here we are using for all entries concept, for all entries in your internal table of LT employee. So it will check the entries in your LT employee where employee ID is equal to LT employee hyphen employee ID. This is the syntax of your for all entries. We are checking the data in the header internal table. Based on that, I am bringing data on my project details table or item table. So the data that is present inside this internal table, both the common primary key is the employee ID, right? The common primary key both between both header and item is employee ID. So based on it, I am bringing data from my project details table and storing it in LT project. So only those data will come whose data is there already present in header. Only those data. I don't need any other data, right? This is how for all entries works. Now, if I put a breakpoint here, if I put a breakpoint to check if it is working or not, I will execute it. Oh, as employee ID is there, let's change its name. So go to text element. I will go to selection text, and here I'm going to change its name. A range for employee ID, activate it, go back, and here I'm passing, let's say 101 to 105. I will execute. I will go for desktop 3. Double click on LT employee. Can you see we have got 5 rows? We have got 5 rows.
Yes.
And if I go for my LT project, can you see we have got 15 rows, right? We have got this 15 rows. Perfectly fine. So I am getting these two data, right? I am getting these two data. Now what will be my next step? A final structure. And I will also create a final internal table. So let's create a final structure here. Types begin of ty underscore final employee ID. Sorry, just copy and bring all these columns. No need to write it again. Just copy it from here and paste it here. Then I will also copy the column of item. Since I have already used the employee ID, there is no meaning of writing it again. I will copy rest columns and bring it and end it. So end of ty underscore final. Pretty printer. Okay. I will create its final internal table and work area also. So LT final type table of ty underscore final ls final type ty underscore final LT final and ls final. Now what will I do? Tell me, how will I be able to send the data from my header and item to my final internal table? How will I do that?
With a loop to fill it.
Yes, we will go for loop. How will I go for loop? Think on that. How will I go for my loop?
By by comparing each of the members of the tables.
Okay. So first we will go for header loop at LT employee into LS employee. Now just think on that here. Then we are also need the data from my item, right? We also need the data from our item. So we will go for item also. Loop add LT item into LS item and loop and loop. Now just think how many times this loop is going to work. This item has 15 records, right? This item has 15 records. This header has 5 records. So for each time, for each or data of your outer loop, this inner loop will execute for 15 times, right?
Yes.
For each iteration of your outer loop, this inner loop will execute for, sorry, loop at LT project into LS project, which is completely meaningless. There is no meaning of executing it 15 times because for each header we only have 3 items, right? We only have 3 records in item. So what we will do, instead of executing this inner loop for that much time, so that complexity will automatically increase. So to reduce it, what we can do, we can give here a where condition. We can give here a where condition where employee ID of my ls project is equal to employee ID of ls employee. That it only going to execute now. This inner loop will only execute for the matching records of the header. Again, it is also not a good approach. We will see how we can also reduce this complexity also later on. We have a separate concept, but for now, this is how we are going to do that. Okay. Then I have my final. I will start storing into the final. So ls final. I will start storing it. Ls final employee ID. Employee ID is equal to ls employee hyphen employee ID. I will start storing the data. ls final employee name is equal to ls final hyphen employee name. Then ls final hyphen department is equal to ls final hyphen department. Then ls final manager is equal to manager, right? Then rest of the columns from our item also. So ls final, no, why I am writing final here? It will be employee. Please focus on the code. Employee and employee. Okay. Then I will go for the rest of the two columns. One is project ID. So project ID is equal to ls project this time, right?
Yes.
Project ID ls final project name is equal to ls project name. Then at last what we will do, we will simply append it ls final to lt final, and I will clear the work area. I will clear the work area. Okay. This is how we are going to bring the data into the final. Syntax check, activate, and at last we will directly display my data. So loop at lt final into ls final and loop, and I will display my data using write statement. So write ls final hyphen employee ID, ls final hyphen employee name, ls final department, ls final manager, ls final project ID, and then ls final project name, right? Project name. Let's check for the syntax. There is no error. Activate it. I will put here a debugger. I will put here a debugger to see if I am able to get all this data or not. So I will give here input 101 to 105, execute. Desktop 3. Let's double click on lt final. Yes, 15 records are there. So see here, focus on it. For each one, I am getting 101 records, right? 3 times. Their corresponding project ID and project name. Is it? Any doubt here?
No. This is clear.
Perfect, right? So if I will execute, see here, I am getting all the data. In a single row, my data is not able to adjust my screen, so it has simply flowed to the next row, right?
Yes.
but I am able to get the data. This is one approach to use the concept of for all entries and store the data in your item. One approach. One thing you can also do here, if your LT employee is not initial, we are bringing data from item. Else, we can also give here a else condition that if header data we are not able to if LT employee is initial, that is if it is empty, let's say I can write here something, what I can write here, I can write here, mm, right here, let's say, there is, oh sorry, not in double quotes, in single quotes, no data present in employee for corresponding data for corresponding entry in select option, right?
Mm-hmm.
This I can display. So instead of writing all this loop, just copy them, remove from here. We can take it inside the if condition, right? If data is coming, then we will display, otherwise there is no meaning of it.
Yes.
So all of them is now is not inside the is not initial condition. If they will be there, we will display the data, otherwise I will display this message. Now let's see. Just I am showing you how we can beautify our code and logic. Now put here a debugger on is not initial condition. I will go for execute, and let's say I'm entering here 110 to 115. I will go for execute. We are at desktop 3. Now double click on LT employee. It is initial, right? There is no data.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see here initial standard?
Yes.
No data.
Mm-hmm.
So if I now I will click on F6, I am at line 47. Now if I will click on F6, where I am at write statement,
Mm-hmm.
and I am able to get it. So user will understand, yes, there is no data. We can directly display. Please enter the correct entry, right? Please enter the correct entry so that you will be able to get the data. So this is one approach. Now another approach. Okay. So we are inside the for all entries. This was one approach using loop within a loop. Then we have another approach using read statement inside the loop. I am just showing you variety of option to get the same kind of result, but every of this is like not much preferred. This is more preferred. Again, I will show you some more better options. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going back. I will click on copy button, and let's make another code so that you guys can refer this code if you will not be able to solve it by yourself. So I'm changing it to, yeah, deep dive 1 now. Activate it. So here another approach is that let's just comment it out. What we will do, always go for loop on the item table. Okay, go for loop on the item table. Loop at LT project into ls project. Go for the loop at item table, and then we will start storing the data. So let's bring this data for the project one, right? These two of them are from item, right? They are from item.
Mm-hmm.
So I will first bring them, uh, and comment them. Then what I will do, I know that for my each item there is only one header, right? We have got only one header. I already know it. So what else I can do? I can perform here read operation directly. Read table my LT employee into LS employee, and I will check with key employee ID. Employee ID is equal to LS project hyphen employee ID. So for this I will read it. I will check the size of RC condition. So if size sub RC equals to 0, and if it is equal to 0, I will then bring the rest of the columns. Okay.
Yes.
Inside this, then uncomment each of them. Okay. And at the end of the loop, just append it. Append ls final to lt final and clear work area. Now think on that. Which one is more better? First one or second one? Which one is more efficient? Which one will take less time?
I think the second one.
Definitely. Read operation. Either linear search or binary search. Time complexity order of n only. Here we are performing loop. The time complexity of this code is order of n square, n into n. The time complexity of this code is only n. See the clear difference. If the time complexity here is 100, here you are going to get 10 only. 10 second and 100 second, right? So 10 million seconds and only 1 million second. This is the difference.
Yes.
Clear difference. Totally depends on the requirement. Okay. As a developer, you will have to develop your logic, how you can write more efficient code. Go for pretty printer and activate it. Execute. Let's see if I'm able to get the data or not. 105. Execute it. See here. I'm able to get all the data. Same to same. Is there any difference?
No.
Is there any difference? No difference. Same to same. Read operation. I am getting the first matching record. I know there is only one record for these item tables in the header. Then why do we need for the loop? But there can be possibility that there might be some duplicate or any other kind of data in our header and item. I don't know what kind of cardinality they are going to follow. So this one we can also need. So in the upcoming sessions, we will see how we can also reduce the complexity of this loop within a loop. A parallel cursor concept is there. I will show you. But two ways for now, this one and this one. Totally up to you what kind of approach you are going to prefer for doing all these things. Okay. For all entries. So the question here is when to use the concept of for all entries. Simple answer will be whenever we will have to fetch the data from the dependent table, we will always go for the for all entries. Is this thing clear now? One approach used for all entries to bring the data from your item table based on the data that is already present in your header table. Now we have the different concept joins in ABAP. See the definition of it. Joins are used to fetch the data from multiple tables using a single select query. See the clear difference. Instead of writing this much amount of code, I just need a single select query. Get all the data from multiple tables. Get all the data from the multiple tables. So the question here comes into the picture, if I have this better option, why I am reading this one? Why am I using this one? Right?
Yes.
There must be some reason. There must be some reason. Think on that. What could be the reason for it? When to use for all entries and when to use joins. Think on that. When to use for all entries and when to use joins. So to understand this situation, just think on that. If I am writing joins, what I am doing here, I am able to uh, get the data from multiple tables, right? Let's say my employee, or let's say VBAK and VBAP, header and item table for sales order. Okay. Now just think on that. Here what I am doing in case of for all entries, at a time I am getting data from VBAK, then at a time I will get data from VBAP, that is query to VBAP, then I'm storing it in the item table, then I'm performing all those things that I'm looking for. But at a time you are hitting here two tables, right? Every table can have millions of data, millions and billions of data. I cannot know predict from earlier without seeing it, right?
Yes.
So which one will be more affecting the database? Which one will be more affecting the database? Definitely this one, right? So if you are directly hitting your table, multiple tables together at the same time, definitely you are impacting the performance of your database, right? Definitely we are impacting the performance of the database. That is why joins are not that much used. What you can do, yeah, that is the main reason. Two, so that my efficiency of system and database should not decrease. So when we are working with the traditional databases like Oracle DB, Oracle DB. What is the meaning of traditional databases? Relational database, okay? Oracle DB, let's say Sybase, MySQL, MS SQL, Microsoft MySQL is there, and etc. So when we are working with the traditional database, then we will go for all entries, because they are not that much powerful. They are not that much powerful in nature. If you are going to use the joins on them, it can impact the performance of these traditional databases. But what about my HANA? HANA is the most powerful database for real-time data processing, right? Is the most powerful database for real-time data processing. It is very powerful in nature. We can use joins directly on the HANA system. We can directly use joins on the HANA system. So first, it will be my suggestion to check your system. If it is HANA, it will be, if you are writing joins, everybody will accept your code. Nobody will question on that. But if let's say you are using your traditional database, it will be a suggestion to use the for all entries, because you cannot know your code. Let's say someone is copying it and using in their system. So if there is some see a problem with the efficiency of the code, anybody is going to question on that. Okay, two different ways again here for same purpose. Again, it totally depends on the developer how they are going to perform it. Totally depends on the developer. Joins. Directly, we are going to join the tables together and bring the required data using a single select query. Now, how many types of joins? Types of joins. So, in SAP, we have two types of joins. We have two types of join. The first one is inner join. Second one is outer join. Outer join. Inner join and outer join. Inner join and outer join. So inner join finds and returns the matching data from both the tables. Finds and returns the matching data from both the tables. Only matching data from both the tables. Okay, there can be a possibility now. Let's say I have some data in the header and I have not yet stored any data for their item. There can be a possibility, right? So inner join only fetches out the common record between them, and then we have the outer join. So what is the use of outer join? Outer join finds and returns the both matching as well as non-matching data from our tables. Both of them, not only header but also item. If the data is matching, then it is good. If it is not matching, then it is more perfect. Both together. So in your outer join, one we have is left outer join. So outer join is also of two types here. Inner join is only single one, but outer join is of two types. One is left outer join. What do you think? What is the use of left outer join? It brings all the data from left table, okay, and only matching data from right table. Then we have right outer join. It brings all the data from right table and only matching data from left table. Okay, two different things. So let's go and write code for them. And let me just show how joins is directly going to reduce the length of your code. So joins in ABAP. Joins in ABAP programming. Type executable, take the package and transport request. Now go back to your previous code, just bring the final structure. We don't need now left and all those things. I can go for deep dive one, display. I will directly bring the final structure now. I don't need header and item table. I can directly bring the final one. And it's internal table and work area. Just see here the benefit of joins. Also we will bring select option, right? Only these three things. Then we are going to write joins. We are going to perform joins. So select employee ID, employee name, department, manager, then project ID, project name, then we have got from your header table. Okay, from your header table join your item table, project details. Okay, from your header table join your item table. Now the question here is, here your system will not be able to understand which column belongs from which table, right?
Yes.
System will be confused. So the solution for this problem is to give a alias name for your header and item. So what we write here as, let's say I'm naming it by myself header, and for the details I am naming it as item. So I will give here reference now header, and then we will give tilde operator. Tilde operator is used, give the reference. So header, header, and header. Same thing I will give for the item, tilde operator, item, and tilde operator. So head 4 columns from header and 2 columns from item. From my header table as header, this is just a alias name, join item, then join condition. So on I will give the join condition. So header tilde operator, which column? Employee ID, right? Based on the employee ID, I am performing the join. So employee ID is equal to item employee ID, right?
Yes.
Then I will store into my final into table LT final, where employee ID, or let's say header employee ID in your select option. This is a join condition. Here this is by default inner join. You can also write like this way, inner join or join, both of them are inner join only. Okay. Let's check for syntax. No error. Go for pretty printer and activate it. Now I will loop and display the data. Loop at LT final into ls final. Let's display the data and check if I am able to get the result or not. So write ls final hyphen employee ID, ls final employee name, ls final department, ls final manager, ls final project ID, ls final project name. Just see the length of code, how much the length of code has been reduced because of join, right? If I go for execute, if I am directly clicking on execute without giving any entry, how many data we are going to get? What is the last data? 105, right? 105 is the last data. Now just get back to our table and see how many data is there. if I am going for my header table, SE11, employee table, display, contents, execute. How many data is there? 107. If I go from my item, display, contents, execute. How many data is here? 105 up to 105, right? From 101 to 105. But in our header, how many data is there? Up to 106 to 107, right? We have got multiple ones. But how many result we are getting here? Only matching one, right? From 101 to 105. Only getting the matching data. This is the beauty of your inner join. This is the beauty of your inner join. Only returning the matching record from both the table. Now if you want, let's say I want all the data from my left and only the matching one from the right. What I can do, I can go for your left outer join. So left outer join, execute, execute. Just go below. How many data you are getting now? Can you see two columns, project ID and project name are missing here because there is no data. This is the beauty of joins. Now no need to write that much long code. I can directly write only a single query to get the data. Only a single query to get the data. Is this thing clear?
Yes.
Now let's say if I am giving here some wrong entries. Let's say I'm giving here some wrong entries. Okay. So I am not able to do anything, right? So what I want that if I am giving here some wrong entries, I should get a message here. Anything that we are performing in our table, anything we are performing, every time we get some message, right? No inconsistency found. Can you see it is a green? If I will give here some other thing, I will get here a error kind of message in red color. So now I also want the same to same thing. How will I be able to give messages? So with this comes into the next, we are now into the next topic, message class in ABAP programming. Message class in ABAP programming. Message class in ABAP programming. What is a message? Messages plays a very crucial role in ABAP. What is message? A message is a text, right? Text, or let's say meaningful text which provides some information to the programmer about what is happening with the executed code. A message is a meaningful text which provides some information to the programmer about what is happening with the executed code that we are executing. The transaction code create a global message class is SE91. We can directly create a transaction code for us. Then how many types of messages in ABAP? How many types of messages in ABAP? First one, abort, or A is given for abort. Second one, error, or you can write it directly E is given for error. Red message. Third one, I for information. Then fourth one, S for success or status. S for success or status. Then W for warning, or sixth one, which is X for exit. As a ABAPer, these are the variety of messages that are there, but as a ABAPer, mostly what we are going to use is error, information and success. Only three of them that are highly used. Rest of them you can use it if you want, but only these of things are mostly used, like 99.99%. Okay.
Yes.
So let's create our own message class as a global. I will go to AC91. I will go to AC91. I will give here a message class. So let's say message 8 to 10, 8 to 10, create. I will give here a short description. Global message class. And you see we have got two tabs, attributes. By default, all the generic data will always be there in the attribute section. Then we have got another section which is message. Assign the package. Now just see it. Message number. How many message number is there? Triple line, right? From 000 to 999. So in a single global message class, I can create 1000 messages, right? I can create 1000 messages. So I will give here a text. Let's say employee ID do not exist. Employee ID do not exist in the table. I will save it. No need to activate this thing, only saving is enough. So what I will do, I will check here if, now I'll check here if LT final is not initial. Okay, I will check if it is not empty, I am displaying it. Otherwise, I'll go for else. I will display the message, right? This is what I will do. Pretty printer. So this is how you call a global message class. So message. Now how many types of message are there? 6. I want to display error message, right? I want to display error message. I will write here E. I will write here E for my error message. E followed by, what is the message number? 000, right? 000. Bring it inside our code, paste here E followed by message number, and in the parenthesis you are going to write, sorry, in the parenthesis you are going to write the message class. Message class. Inside the parenthesis you are going to write the message class. Error message will be displayed. Activate it, execute, just give here some wrong input, execute. Can you see? Employee ID do not exist. A error message, right? I can also give here information message. Let's say I execute, just give here some wrong inputs, execute. Information message. Employee ID do not exist in the table. Okay. Employee ID do not exist in the table. This is how we can use our global messages to to display our message. Now what I want, that I also want to display the employee ID that has been given by the user. Okay, I want to display them. The employee ID that has been given by the user. So what we can do, we can use them. Okay, we can use them. So go to your global messages, and here you can use n% to pass a employee to bring a number that you are passing from there. Okay, and another n%. Let's say I want to bring range, right? I want to bring range, so two numbers will be needed. So 2n%. Save it, and all placeholder. What it is saying, employee ID. Add a number to all percent placeholder in the message. This makes it possible to translate the message in the correct order. Can you see? By default, it is giving, telling us that if we are using n%, then we are required to add. So here I will pass with my select option low, the low value of it, right?
Yes.
And select option high value. I will display the high value also. Now go for activate, execute, give here a input and execute it. Can you see? Employee ID 101 and 105. So instead of and, let's change it to 2. Now save it, get back, click on execute. Yeah, can you see now? 2105 do not exist in the table. This is how we can pass global message. Very, very beautiful. Then we have local messages. This is global message. We also have local messages. I believe now you understand the importance of global and local. Global are reusable, right? I can recall it inside this program, or I can call it in any other program. Local messages are limited to only single program. They cannot be reused. They cannot be reused. That is why mostly we do not use it. But again, you can also use it. They cannot be reused in any other program. We can use it in our same program, but we cannot directly reuse them in any other program. It is not possible. It is not possible to reuse them in any other program. We can only use it in a single program. Now, how will I use it? So, message in single quotes, write anything that you want to display. So, let's say I'm writing employee data do not exist. Type error or information. This is how I can define a local message. Pretty simple. Local message. Since it is a local message, I can do whatever that I want. Let's see if I can pass n% or not. And employee data from and to and do not exist. So with s employee ID hyphen low and s employee ID hyphen high. Let's see if we can use it or not. Syntax check. What it is? No, it is not possible, right? Local message not allowing it. Local message did not allowing it. It is expecting here after type, it is expecting this thing. Let's see if I can use with here or not. Let's try it. I've never tried this thing. I'm trying it inside this class only. With Syntax check. No, it is not possible. We will get error. No three-figure number of specified, and it is not possible with local. Only global. I believe there is no need to use it inside the local, right? I can directly write the text from myself.
Yes.
So employee data do not exist. Syntax check. Activate. Execute. 110 to 115. Execute. See here. Local message. So this is information. Then we can also have error for E. Activate. Execute. 115. Execute. Error message in red color. You can also get success message in green color. Execute.